In this video, I'm going to show you how to complete the Word Guided Project 2-1. Before we begin, I'd like to mention that you should be using the downloaded set of instructions that come with SimNet when you downloaded the start file. The start file is what you see right here. You should have also been instructed to download the instructions. Even if you have a hard copy of the text, it's best to use a downloaded version of the instructions because they contain the latest and most up-to-date set of instructions. I also like to print them out, and as I go over each step, I'm crossing off each item so I don't miss anything. It's easy to miss things if you're not using a hard copy, at least for me, so that's what I recommend for you. Well, let's start with step one. Step one says to open up the start file. The start file is what you see right here. If your document opens in the protected view, and you'll know you're in the protected view because you'll see a yellow bar across the top, simply double click the enable editing button, and now you can edit this document. Before we move on to step two, I'd like to talk about these characters that you see right here. If you see these symbols or characters and you'd like to get rid of them, you can simply head up on the Home tab. In the paragraph grouping, you can click on the Show Hide button and you can turn them on or off. It's important to know that they don't print, meaning that when you go to print this document, they won't show up, but they allow you, the user, to see the hidden formatting behind this document. And it can be useful if you'd like to know every time you hit the enter button. That's what you see when you hit this or see this paragraph button right here. If you hit a tab, it'll show that. If you have a page break, it'll show that. And it's important to know that they don't print. They're called non-printing characters, but they're there for you, the editor, so you can see the hidden formatting behind the scenes. So if you don't like to see them, simply turn them off. But I'm going to leave them on for now because it does help me know where to click. So let's move on to step two. Step two says the file will be automatically renamed to include your name. That is absolutely true. If your instructor tells you to rename this file, now is the time to do that, but if they don't say otherwise, you can just leave the name as is. But I do highly recommend that you save your document. Several different ways to save. What I'm going to do is click this diskette button in the upper left-hand portion of the screen to quickly save it. And I suggest that you save your document periodically so you don't lose critical information. That completes step two. Step three, change the margins of the document. So as I go through each step, I'm literally crossing off each item as I complete them. That's why I go a little bit slowly sometimes. So I'm making sure to hit every single item. So 3A says click the margins button, and I need to head up to the layout tab. Off to the left, should see margins. Lots of choices there, but down towards the bottom, I click on custom margins, and the page setup dialog box opens. In 3B, I can change the right and left margins to 0.75. I can toggle up and down, and it may not give you the 0.75 option, so you can just type it in there manually. If you want, you could just literally type in 0.75. And when you're done with that, click OK, and you should see the margins change just a little bit. You can see how the margins widen just a little bit. That completes step three. In step four, we need to change the theme and the theme color of the document. So let's head to the themes button. We need to head over to the design tab right here. And on my computer, the themes button is off to the left. I click it. Lots of different choices there. Make sure you select the appropriate theme. In this one, in 4B, it's asking for integral. So I see that's close to the top. Select it. I'm crossing it off my print it instructions. In 4C, I need to click the colors button. It's over to the right a little bit more. Click the drop down, and then it wants me to choose aspect. It may be down towards the bottom, so search all of the color combinations till you find it. Once you've selected it, that will have completed step 4. Step 5. Change the font size, paragraph spacing, and line spacing of the entire document. So, in order to select the entire body of the document, I'm going to hold down the Control button and hit A. It's important to note that I have to do that at the same time. I can hold down the Control button first, that's not a problem, but I keep holding it down and then press A, and it selects the entire body of the document. Please note though that it doesn't select the header or footer. If you want to change the header and footer, you'll have to modify that separately, but this will select the entire body of the document. So in 5B, it says change the font size to 11 point. Let's head up to the Home tab. Pretty standard. In the font grouping area, select 11. And then it's asking us to change the line spacing to single and the after paragraph spacing to 0.6. So one of the easier ways to do that is click this little launcher button in the lower right hand portion, line spacing single, and then it says after, the spacing here before and after. The after, I can just toggle up to 6. Double checking that I did everything that I'm supposed to and it looks good. So I'm going to call that a wrap, and that completes step 5 after I hit the OK button. Step 6. It says apply styles to the selected text. So in 6A, we need to place the insertion pointer somewhere in the first line there. I'm going to place it in the very beginning. And it says click the title style. Need to be on the Home tab. Lots of choices. If you can't see all these choices, if your screen is a little bit squished, you may have to hit the More button. Either way, when you see title, select it, and you can see how it changes the entire line. Complete 6A and 6B. Step 6C says select the second line of the document, which I do. Then I need to right click on it, and you should see a little mini toolbar right here. If I select styles, lots of choices there. It wants me to choose book style. Choose book style, crossing off each item as I complete it so I don't miss anything. With this text still selected, it says change the case button to uppercase. A couple different ways to do it, but I'm going to follow the instructions. Head up to the font group up here, and you should see this area, change case, and I'm going to select uppercase. Looks good there. In step 6F, it says select applicant's instructions. So I'm going to select applicant's instructions. And I need to apply the intense quote style in the style gallery. So head up here and I can see the quote style. Just double checking. In fact, there's 2 of them. So make sure you apply the intense quote. And that's easy to get tripped up on. I've seen a lot of students get tripped up on that. Make sure you apply the intense quote style. In 6G, in the next paragraph, it says, please answer all the questions. Apply the strong style to the 3 words in caps. All, none, and none. So I'm going to select all. Going to look for strong up here. Select it. Select it. And select it. On the second page of the document, it says select insurance application disclaimer. And I can see it down here towards the center of the page. It says to select it, so I'm going to select all of that. And apply the intense quote style, which I do. And that completes step 6. Step 7, modify an existing style. So 7A has us click the More button, and that's in the lower right hand portion of all the choices here in the styles area. It's a little down arrow. And it says to next right click the intense quote style. Right click the intense quote and select modify. So now we can modify this style. In the formatting area, we need to change the font size to 12. Pretty easy to do. Click the format button on the bottom left. Once again, I'm crossing off each item as I complete it so I don't miss anything. And select paragraph. Lots of choices there. The dialog box opens. Change the left and right margins to 0. You could type it in there as well, that's fine, but I used the little down arrows to change those both to 0. Click the OK button. That's 6F. Make sure the only in this document radio button is selected. It probably is, but make sure that it is. And if that looks right to you in 7H, we are going to click OK. And that will have completed step 7. Step 8, add borders and shading to selected text. So it says on the second page, right below where we were just working there, going to highlight, or select I should say, the 3 paragraphs. Follow the instructions exactly as you see it. That's 8A. 8B says to click the borders drop down. We need to look over here in the paragraph group. I'm on the home tab. Click on the borders drop down and then select borders and shading. Now before I go any further, sometimes students get confused when they hear border because they think that it's a page border around the entire page or document. While that could be true, in this particular area, since we're working with a selection, it's going to put a border, or it's going to work with this just selected area. If we hit page border, don't do it right now, but if you hit page border, then you could put a border around the entire document. So it's important to know, can you put a border around the selection? Yes. Can you put a border around the entire document? Yes as well. It depends on what you like to do. So let's head back over to our instructions and do everything that it says. First of all, we need to, this is 8C, select custom, which we are. 8D, it says select the solid line, which I'm sure that's the solid line, the first choice up there. 8E, in the color area, select orange accent 1. I know that's a pretty bright orange there. It's usually up towards the top. Verify that that's what it is on your computer. Hover over it until you see orange accent 1. In the width area, select 1 point. In the preview area, click the left and the right border. This is the left, and this is the right. You can see that it adds that orange border to the left and to the right. In the apply to area, select paragraph, which it is right there. It's selected. That is 8H. Just triple checking to make sure that we have it right. In I, going to hit options. See the dialog box there. We need to change the left and right settings to 5 points. Left and right. You know what? I'm just going to use the up button so I don't make any mistakes in typing, but you could type it in there as well. If it looks good, do a quick double check that you did the left and right, not the top and bottom, but the left and right. Click OK. We need to next click the shading tab. It's up here. Click the shading tab. And we need to select the orange accent lighter 80. This is going to be lighter than the normal orange. Make sure you pick the right color, lighter 80%. And I know from experience it's right about there. Double checking it. Yes, looks good. I click the OK to close the borders and shading dialog box. And now you can see that we've put a border and some shading in the selected area. Step 9. Change the paragraph spacing and add a tab stop with an underlined leader to the selected text. This is also a really powerful option to understand and know how to use in Word. So let's get to it. 9A. It says on the second page, select the last 3 lines of the text. Selecting all of that. On 9B, it says select the paragraph launcher. On the Home tab, launcher is in the lower right-hand portion of the paragraph group. It says change the before paragraph spacing to 12. Make sure you're at the before area to 12. Click the tabs. And what we're going to do here is set it so a heavy underline, an underline, goes exactly where we need it to go. We're going to show you that in a minute. So in the tab stop position area, we're going to type in 7. It's going to make sense in a minute. Next, we click the right radio button, alignment right. Decide what the leader should look like. And the fourth choice is a solid underline. Click the set button and the OK button. And this is why I like to show these non-printing characters. I'll show you in a minute. The next step, it says in I to put your insertion pointer at the end of name and title of insured, and then click tab. And you can see that this little arrow sign to the right, what that means is that a tab has been initiated right here. That won't print, and this little paragraph character won't print either, but it lets me know that a tab has occurred right there. Another place that students can often make a mistake on is not doing J, which is repeat the steps after this line, signature of insured, hit the tab, and date of application. And this is a much cleaner and appropriate way to put a solid underline. You could put it in manually, but oftentimes things do not line up when you just manually hit the underline button. So this is how the professionals do it. And that completes step 9. Step 10. Add a multi-level list to select the text and modify list settings. In 10A, it says select the lines of text beginning with applicant. So we could actually, we'll go up to the top here, but you could have started from the bottom. I can see it says applicant. Scroll down, and I highlight all the way to if yes, please explain. Just triple checking that that's what they want us to do right here. And that looks good. Finishes up on the second page. It says click the multi-level list button on the Home tab paragraph group. And don't be embarrassed if you're not sure which one it is. You can just hover over anything and find what you're looking for. If you leave it on for a second, it will tell you. I know that it's up towards the center top portion of the screen right here. And I click on that, and it wants us to choose the 1AI option. Probably a little bit small to see on your screen, but I know it's right there. So I choose it. And with the text still selected, we're going to hit the multi-level list button again. And we're going to select define new multi-level list. It's down towards the bottom. I'm going slow to really check off, make sure I get every item as I complete it. So I crossed off 10C. 10D says click the set for all levels button. And then in 10E, it says set bullet number position to 0, and that is on 0 for my computer. It's already set to 0, nothing to do there. If it isn't, I suppose you do it right now. I know you do. In F, it says set text position for first level to 0.3. Looks like it's on 2.25. I'm going to bump it up to 0.3. In G, it says set additional indent for each level, 0.3. Crossing off each item as I complete it. Next, we'll have to click OK and OK. OK. We have completed step 10. Step 11. Increase indent on selected lines. So I'm going to scroll up here. It says click anywhere just to deselect that selection. Next, it says to put your insertion point in 13 in the numbered list. Click over here. I just click right on the 13. That works out best. You can see that that one has a little bit darker gray, so we're working with 13. And we need to click, this is 11B, we need to click increase indent. On the home tab, up here, there's two choices, decrease indent and increase. We are going to increase. And you can see that it changes that one to A. You've increased the indent. It says repeat these steps on each of the lines that begin with if yes. When we're done, there should be 28 total numbered items. So I'm going to take my time here and just look for every instance where it begins with if yes. And I'm going to click on the number and then increase indent. And this is good news because I can see that there are now 28 of those total items. And that completes step 11. Step 12, change the paragraph spacing on the multi-level list. So in 12A, it says select the entire multi-level list. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to head up to the top. And please note when you do this, you're probably not going to be able to select over the 1. You can try, but when you don't want to actually pull, you don't want to pull all the numbers over. I'm just trying to select. So I'm going to actually click it right before the A. And I'm going to select all the way down to the end of 28A. Step B, it says click the paragraph launcher. On the home tab, paragraph launcher. And it says deselect. Make sure that the selection isn't selected. Don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. So there should not be a check mark in there. Next, click the tabs button. In the tab stop, type 7. Next, the right radio button. The leader is 4. Click the set button, then click OK to close the dialog box. We're going to head up. Hopefully you can see this. Right after the colon, I'm going to put my insertion points and I'm going to hit tab. And if it goes all the way over to the right hand side, we've done it successfully. Success. Now don't forget this step. This is an important step. You need to do that for every or each of the numbered lettered paragraphs. So in 2, 3, you get the picture. right at the end of each line. And once you've done it down to 28A, you have successfully completed step 12. Step 13, it says save the document. Click the save button in the upper left-handmost portion of the screen. In 14, we are going to insert a page break. So it says place the insertion point before the text. Listen, before the text, not the number. Before the text in 22. So literally right before the A. This is important. Before the A, and then I'm going to I'm going to hold down the control button and then hit enter. That's going to put in a page break. And since we have these non-printed characters right here, you can see the page break. It says page break. This will not print. Don't worry about that. That lets you, the editor, know that there's a page break right there. And that completes step 14. Step 15. Add a page number in the footer of the document. Going to do Control Home. Get back to the top of the document. Need to click on the page number button, which is in the Insert tab. Off to the right, going to see page number. Lots of choices. We need to select bottom of page. Scroll down, and one of the choices is bold 3. Bold numbers 3. Here we go. I select it. You'll see it displays on the right. In 15E, it says click the blank line. And you know there's a blank line there because you see this paragraph marker. If that wasn't there, you could still click down here and you'd successfully see it. But that's why people show these show hide characters, these non-printing characters, because I can put it right there. If I hit the backspace button, it gets rid of that line. It lets you know exactly where to click. In 15F, it says close header and footer. That successfully completes step 15. In step 16, it says to save and close the document, which we will do. In 17, upload your document into the system, into SimNet. In 18, submit your project for grading. Best of luck, folks.